Hello and welcome to a historical millinery hat making video. My name is Ilona, I'm a milliner based in London, and today I will be showing you how I made this Regency style bonnet. So get your straw, wire and ribbons and let's get started. This was a private bespoke commission and I have never made anything like it before. I have used a shiny Wheatstraw capeline and trimmed it with a silk dupion faux grapevine bow. The techniques I will be exploring in this video will be blocking with Wheatstraw, machine stitching millinery wire, and how to extend a crown for added height. I will also feature some short explainers of millinery materials I used throughout. If you enjoy what you see, please consider liking and subscribing to help my videos reach a larger audience. Every hat needs to start with a foundation material. This time I will be using this shiny Wheatstraw. This particular hat body is naturally super shiny and already quite stiff. It has a single 1x1 type weave which forms a distinct cross at the centre top of the capeline. This is a relatively cheap hat making material, so if you are a beginner milliner, this is a good place to start. I suggest you purchase 2 of these just in case you mess up the blocking on your first go. And speaking of blocking, let's make a start on that. I am using a standard open crown block. This is a classic shape that is sloped forwards at the front and is very gently domed. I like to think of it as the in-between block. It's flatter than a dome, but rounder than a flat top. I find it to be very versatile and it was the first block that I ever purchased. This first stage is the tricky bit. The Wheatstraw is super stiff, so to soften it up I am using steam from a handheld steamer and a light misting of water from a spray bottle. The emphasis here is on light. You don't want to saturate the straw with water or heat. I like to start by putting some temporary pins into the centre and the 4 points of the cross in the top of the capeline. When you pin, be sure to avoid puncturing the straw. Aim for the gaps in the weave instead. Align the cross with the front and back of your block. Symmetry is key for a professional finish later. Keep adding steam and use your hands to smooth the straw over the block. I have used a blocking cord to help keep the sides flush with the wood. Coax the brim under the block and put in a few pins. Once again, avoid piercing the straw and aim for gaps in the weave. As this hat is a rush order, I need this straw to dry fast so that I can take it off the block. I'm going to use a dry hot iron and a cotton pressing cloth to dry out this straw. Alternatively, just leave your straw to dry before removing it. I have decided that the crown should be of varied height, shorter at the back and taller at the front. I have marked on my cutting line using a rubber band and I have made sure it is symmetrical at all points by measuring up from the base of the block. Then I have drawn this line onto the straw in pencil. I am using small scissors to cut along this line. I have kept the brim part as a whole without cutting through from this stage as I will need to use it for blocking the bonnet brim later. Run a large machine stitch close to the edge of the cut straw on the crown to prevent fraying. Leave the cut crown on the block while working on the brim. Before blocking the brim, the inner edge needs to be bound and stabilised with bias cut tarlatan. This is to stop the cut straw edge from fraying. The length of the tarlatan is the head size. In my case, that's 55 centimeters plus a 3 centimeter seam overlap. And the width is just under twice the height of your brim collar. This is dependent on the head size ribbon, which we will talk about later. In my case, this was about 4 centimeters. I have pinned it to the brim collar and I will sew it down using a sewing machine. Now the brim is ready for blocking. I will be using this wavy mid-century bonnet block. This is the first time I am blocking on a block like this and it was rather difficult to figure out. As this is a very old block, I don't want to pin into it for fear of it cracking. Instead, I will be using a lot of blocking cord and tying the string down onto the block. Once again, I'm using a light misting of water and steam to get the straw to conform to the wavy shape. I have tied the blocking cord at the front, back and sides of this block. This particular part was very fiddly, and if I was to make another Regency bonnet, I would probably go for the easier, flatter curved bonnet brim style. Once the straw brim is dry, I am going to draw on the edge of my brim using a pencil. This time, instead of cutting it straight away, I will stabilise the edge by running 2 rows of machine stitches either side of my pencil cutting line. This means that when I cut into the straw, it will no longer fray. To further stabilise the edge, I am going to sew on a very thin bias strip of tarlatan, just the same as we did for the brim collar. This tarlatan needs to be slightly thinner than your edge binding ribbon, but more on this later. It's time to work with some millinery wire for the edge of the brim. Millinery wire is the most important component in hats. Almost all brims, especially large wavy ones like bonnets, need to be reinforced at the edges. Wire helps keep the structure sound and should also be very lightweight. The millinery wire I am using is 1.2 millimeters wide. It is made from copper washed steel and covered in cotton thread. These properties allow it to be rust-proof and easily workable with your fingers. If you cannot get hold of millinery wire, you can use galvanized wire instead, but this is more difficult to work with on the fingers. When working with millinery wire, the most important thing to do is to straighten or flatten it out. Some milliners will completely straighten the wire out into a straight line. I, however, prefer to keep it in the round and just flatten it downwards. I am using my fingers to work along the wire and bend it flat against the table. This takes some practice and is very much a feeling thing. The more you do this, the faster you will get. But honestly, please don't skip this step. If the wire isn't straight or flattened, it will warp your brim and ruin the lines of the hat. Once the wire is straight, I shall execute a wire join. I have given myself a 5 cm overlap. For more details on how to do a proper wire join, watch this video in the top right. Now let's fix the wire to the brim edge. You have 3 options here. Either fix it to the underside of the brim, or over the top, or to the very edge. I have chosen to fix it to the underside. I am using mini clothes pegs to hold it all in place. It may appear that your wire is too small for the brim, but this is only because the woven straw edge has relaxed and expanded. Try to distribute this equally around the wire. It will fit eventually and the brim will be perfect. To machine stitch the wire, set up your machine to these following settings. Go slowly. If you go too fast and your needle hits the wire, it will break. It can be easier to use an edging foot to help you guide the brim through the machine. Next, we will be working with millinery Petersham ribbon. This is a very special type of ribbon. It's not polyester or nylon grosgrain, even though it might look like it at first glance. Millinery Petersham is made using natural fibres, which can be a mix of cotton or viscose. Due to being made in natural fibres, it can be curved with an iron. This curve is necessary for the ribbon to not pucker around the edges of a hat. For the edge of my brim, I am using a 15mm straw coloured ribbon. I am not going to curve this one, but fold it almost in half instead. I will be top stitching it to the edge of my brim, almost like a lazy bias binding. Attach the ribbon to the edge using mini clothes pegs to hold it in place. There are many ways in which you can stitch a ribbon to the edge. I am doing the lazy method that involves a single run of top stitches. Alternatively, you can curve the ribbon, stitch on one side, fold it over and then stitch the top. Once again, go slowly and be aware of where the wire is. You don't want to hit it with your needle. Make sure the wire is trapped inside the folded ribbon and your stitching line. Back to curving more Petersham ribbon. This is the ribbon that will set the size of the hat. The hat I'm making needs to be 55 centimeters, so I have cut my ribbon to be 55 centimeters plus a 3 centimeter overlap. To curve it, I'm using a steam iron and pulling it into a curve with my left hand. I'm aiming for a gentle C shape. To stitch the ribbon to the collar, I have pinned it in place and evenly distributed the straw to fit the ribbon length. Over on the machine, I am using the same settings as before, but this time my thread colour closely matches the colour of my ribbon. Once this is stitched, the head size is set. And now we come to the crown extension. For this, I will be using a bias cut strip of Buckram. Buckram is a plain weave cotton foundation material covered in a starch-based stiffener. I use it a lot for flat pattern hats or simple shapes such as pillboxes and callow half hats. For the extension, decide how much you want to extend your crown by and add 3 centimeters for the height. The length is your head size plus 3 centimeters. I find it helpful to draw on a line 1.5 centimeters from the top and bottom. I will follow this line later when I attach it to the straw. Sew the join on your sewing machine to create a cylinder. Pin the buckram to the straw following the 1.5 centimeter line and sew this on the sewing machine using a running stitch. Now pin the buckram crown to the inside of your brim collar. Make sure the Petersham ribbon is folded out of the way and not caught under the buckram. Also, make sure you align the front and back of the crown to the front and back of the brim. If it is slightly off and rotated, it will be noticeable when worn. If you can fit this into your sewing machine, stitch it together. You can opt to hand stitch using a back stitch if you prefer. Keep the Petersham head size ribbon out of the way as you sew. We are almost done with the structure, but we need to smooth out the texture difference between the buckram and the Wheatstraw. For this, I will be using a fusible bonnet. Bonnet is a fluffy, fleecy, soft material that should always be used to cover buckram. It softens the surface, allowing silk fabrics to smoothly sit on top. I have cut a bias strip of bonnet the width of the buckram that is showing through the crown. I'm using a hot dry iron to fuse the bonnet to the buckram. Here is the dress this hat is to be worn with. I need to pick a colour scheme. I don't have the time to order in silk and ribbon in the correct quantities, so I have to pick silks out of my offcuts stash. This raspberry, burgundy and mid-cold purple go very well with the cool, soft tone of the dress. I've also got these 3 rose-tinted browns, but I think they are too pink and too brown to go well with the cold purples. I've also got this grey-purple taffeta, but since all the other fabrics are silk dupions, I think the texture clash would be too much. These 2 dark purples are too blue, so that's a definite no. That pink and this purple are too icy and too shiny, and that brown is just too brown. This pink is the closest match I have to the sash on the dress, so this can be the band on the hat that will also cover the buckram extension. Oh, and this light purple is the closest to the actual dress colour. So here is my final selection of colours: raspberry, burgundy, mid-cool purple, medium pink and light cool purple. I think those are a good balance. I have cut the medium pink silk dupion on the bias and made a strip long enough to go around the hat and tall enough to cover the buckram join. I'm going to flatline the medium pink in some more bonnet. This is to pad out the area where the buckram join is. If you have a suitable silk ribbon, you can use that instead of the fabric. When it comes to attaching this band to the hat, keep in mind it does not need to be stitched all the way around. Place the join where it will be covered by a trim and hand stitch down along the width of the ribbon. The rest of the ribbon can be secured at the front, back and sides with a single invisible tacking stitch at the base and top edges. This video is now getting a little too long, so to see the making of the faux grapevine bow, sign up to my Patreon for a picture tutorial. At this point the hat is almost finished, but I think it is lacking a little extra something. How about some curled goose bio feathers? I think with this it will look a little more finished. To sew these on, I am using tie tack stitches at the base of each feather. I have artistically placed them into the depths of the grapevine bow. The aim is not to handle these too much. They must look delicately positioned in place. And here is the finished hat. I think it is rather successful. I am pleased that I found materials in my stash to be able to fulfill this rush order. In many ways, I find working with restrictions really pushes my creativity, and it was thanks to the time constriction that I was able to put together such a lovely colour palette. However, if this wasn't a rush order, there are a few things I would have liked to have done differently. I would have stitched plaited Milan or pedal straw into the desired shape rather than blocking a woven capeline. From my understanding, this would have been a little more historically accurate for the period and eliminate the need for a crown extension in Buckram. As part of my research post making this hat, I rewatched Emma, released in 2020. The bonnets in the film all had a gauzy fabric or lace running against the underside of the bonnet. Visually, this softens the face and looks very romantic. From a practical millinery perspective, this would cover the unsightly underside of the bonnet. Undersides of straws are where you can see all the knots and joins in the material where the weavers added straw to extend the strands. It's the same for sewn plaited straws. You can see the knots in the braid here and also my unsightly stitching on this sample piece. I'm very happy with my trim. I love the faux grapevine bow and I particularly enjoyed working with this pink and purple colour palette. The chin straps I would change, however. I think they need to be in a wider ribbon and also come in over the back and top of the brim rather than from the underside. This is also something I noticed when rewatching Emma. Overall, as a piece of rush bespoke commission work, I am very pleased with this hat. It may not be perfect, but it's really close for a first try. Thank you so much for watching, liking and subscribing. Share this video with your costuming friends. Commission me to make you a Regency bonnet or any other hat that you might wish for. Also, consider signing up to my mailing list right up here and to my Patreon for some extra tutorials. Once again, thank you so much for watching and I will see you next time. Bye!